Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to this special edition Tech Talk. My name is Emerson Sklar. I'm the principal evangelist of Amazon Alexa, and I'm so excited for the chance to get together and hear some expert insight about some of our recent announcements about the future of Alexa and large language models. Now, before I introduce our guests, a few housekeeping items. If you're joining us on the On24 console, please be sure to check out all the engagement widgets on the screen. You'll see the attendee chat, and my colleagues are on the back end ready to respond to your questions and feedback. There's an option to send us some emoticons, which we always love to see at the bottom of the screen. Also, if you haven't yet, be sure to join our Slack channel. We'll be sharing a link down at the bottom of the screen as well. And finally, for everyone joining us live through social channels, we are monitoring the chats, so please do feel free to ask any questions you have. Now for our guests. Joining me today, we have Sid Bhagavatula, Director of Product and Growth for Alexa Skills Developer Tech, and Steve Tingiris, Alexa Champion and founder of Dabble Labs. Sid and Steve, thank you so much for joining. Now, before we get down to it, let's start with a little icebreaker. Steve, what is your favorite thing that's now possible with generative AI?
I'm going to say, well, there's multiple things, but the thing that I tend to use most is probably translation. I work with people in different countries, and I'm not smart enough to be able to speak lots of languages like some people are. So generative AI helps me pretend I do.
That's a great one, Steve. Sid, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in generative AI that I'm excited about. Specifically, I think a couple of things that excite me. One, I think consumers with generative AI can get like fresh and new responses for things every time, so that it doesn't feel like they're canned responses. They can ask for weather multiple times and get slightly different responses, sometimes even tailor-made for them. And the second one is just the fun part of which is the ability to generate things, like, for example, talk about a book or a movie, and for the LLM to have an opinion about it. I think that's fun.
Yeah, the Cliff Notes about anything in the world is a great capability. So Steve, starting with you, you were the first person that I knew who had early invite-only access to the modern wave of large language models. And you even wrote the first book released by a major publisher about how best to leverage GPT-3. What got you interested in deeply studying this new technology? And then what keeps you interested?
For sure, it was my interest in Alexa prior. And I'm not just saying that because this is an Alexa talk, but I've been interested in conversational AI and involved with Alexa, I think, since I got the original invite in 2014, but conversational AI even a little bit before that. And when I was able to get a look at what the large language models were starting to do, and was fortunate to get an early look, I immediately saw that there was going to be some changes in how conversational AI worked. And so it really, for me, it wasn't so much like large language models opened up a new thing as much as it just created additional excitement about something that I was already excited about, which is, conversational AI, or voice first, but conversational first, yeah.
Sid, you've been at Amazon for over 10 years. You've been on the Alexa team since the early days, and you've seen Alexa grow from this nascent and kind of novel technology into this incredibly powerful, truly industry-defining solution. Can you talk a little bit about what generative AI and large language models actually bring to Alexa?
Yeah, I mean, we've always thought of Alexa as an evolving service, and we've been continuously improving it since the day we introduced back in 2014. A long-standing mission has been to make a conversation with Alexa as natural as talking to another human, and with the rapid development of generative AI, what we imagined several years back, we feel like is now well within our reach. We recently previewed a smarter and more conversational Alexa based on a new large language model that's been custom built and specifically optimized for voice interactions. And the things we know our customers love and do every day with Alexa, such as like getting real-time information, efficient smart home control, and maximizing their home entertainment, are going to be even better. We believe this will drive the future for Alexa, enabling us to enhance 5 foundational capabilities of any assistant, and specifically Alexa. The first one being conversational. The fact that customers can phrase their requests in a more natural way, can have long running conversations with the assistant, I think opens up a lot of new use cases. For
Absolutely.
example, when you ask for the latest on a trending news story, you'll get a very short response with the most relevant information. If you want to know more, you can ask for follow up questions. You can continue the conversation and go deep into that particular story, and talk to Alexa for, let's say, like several minutes, if that's what you're interested in. Second, real world utility, which is something that we have strived to make Alexa as a useful assistant to our customers. And with the new generative capabilities, for example, customers can now say, Alexa, every weeknight at 9 p.m., make an announcement that it's bedtime for kids, dim the light upstairs, turn on the porch light, switch on the fan in the bedroom. So you can just very conversationally and naturally chain things, and it just feels like how you would talk to somebody in your family or talk to another human being. The next one is the personalization and context. Personalization is key for consumers to feel that the assistant is theirs. And this will also enable us to deliver unique experiences based on the preferences customers have shared with us, the services they've typically interacted. If they like to use Amazon Music for their music, the assistant remembers that. And also information about your environment, things such as, like, you typically like your thermostat to be set at like 68 degrees in the night and things like that. Then personality. It's really important for that Alexa feels more natural and adapts to the type of personality you would like Alexa to have. With generative AI, new things are possible. Alexa can tell you which movies should have won an Oscar, or write an enthusiastic note for you to send to congratulate your friend, or to celebrate a recent event. So there's a lot of things that are possible today which were previously not possible or required a lot of work by the developers. The last thing is the trust aspect, which we treat very seriously, and it is core to our mission, is making sure that consumers are getting the right information, and trust and privacy is in the forefront. To our knowledge, this is the largest integration of an LLM with real-time services and the large suite of devices that we have. And the fact that it's not just limited to a browser where you're typing things and getting links, but the LLM is able to actually actuate things and do things in real life, I think is a big deal as well. I mean, just to follow up on more things that are possible, because typically I think the perception is that generative AI equals like chatbots and things that respond in text, but we are applying large language models and generative AI to a lot more core components of Alexa. For example, customers who choose to enroll in Visual ID just can start a conversation with Alexa by simply facing the screen. We use several techniques. We leverage the sensors on our devices to make this happen, and I'm personally super excited about it. Second, we built a whole new conversational speech recognition engine using large language models, which is capable of adjusting to normal conversational style that people have and the different styles, whether it's pauses, hesitations, corrections. So you feel like you're really talking to a person. And finally, generative AI has enabled us to also enhance our text-to-speech technology with a large transformer model to make Alexa more expressive, more tuned to conversational cues. For example, some of the things I just mentioned, where Alexa can celebrate with you or can, reason and debate with you. And the style of the responses will change based on your queries. I believe we're at the start of a journey, a foundation that will lead us to a new version of Alexa powered by generative AI. And of course, we cannot do this all by ourselves. Like we've done from the beginning, we want our developers on this journey with us to help us define and build the new ambient experiences for our shared customers. We want developers to invent new things we aren't able to think about and completely reshape how Alexa works and does. So that's why in our recent concluded fall event, we previewed some tools for our developers that leverage our advances in generative AI. our whole goal is making the building with Alexa a lot faster and simpler, so the developers can focus on their ideas and inventing new things that are possible on an assistant.
Yeah, that devices event, for anybody who hasn't seen it out in the audience, definitely go look on YouTube and watch some of the snippets from the event. That was so exciting for me that we could finally share to the world some of the incredible innovation that the teams across Alexa have been working on for years. Could you recap for the audience some of the product announcements we made at the event?
Yeah, absolutely. At the Fall Device and Services event, we introduced a smarter and intuitive, more powerful Alexa, which is completely powered by our generative AI, leveraging our proprietary large language model that's optimized for voice. We also announced a bunch of tools that leverage our advances in generative AI. Again, like building with these tools for Alexa is going to be a lot simpler. You do not need to understand the nuances of the large language model technologies. It is going to be easier and faster to bring your experiences onto Alexa. Developers will now be able to integrate content and APIs with Alexa's LLM to create conversational experiences. Or alternatively, if you also allow developers to integrate with a LLM of their choice, especially specialized LLMs for specific tasks. Here's an example of one of the experiences from our partners leveraging generative AI and Alexa.
Hi, my name is Chris DePiesel. I'm a principal designer here at Alexa, and we've been working with Character AI to deliver their first skill to Alexa, built on our LLM, bring your own LLM technology. It's a super engaging skill, have conversations with many different characters with a lot of different expertise, and we're really hoping that Alexa customers will find a lot of delight and interest in this experience. Alexa, open character.
You can continue your last conversation with Trip Planner by saying resume, or select a character or category to get started.
Trip Planner.
Remember, everything characters say is made up. What parts of the world do you want to explore?
So I'm trying to surprise my wife with a trip for her birthday. I think we want to go to Japan.
Japan is a great country to visit. If you're looking for a romantic trip, I would suggest the city of Kyoto. It's got beautiful traditional style architecture, beautiful gardens and temples, and a rich history to explore. But Tokyo is more modern with bright lights, shopping centers, and an amazing food scene. So it really depends on what kind of experience you're looking for.
Well, my wife really loves tofu. Which city has the best tofu in Japan?
You can find amazing tofu in both Tokyo and Kyoto, but Kyoto is probably better for experiencing the traditional ways of life in Japan. So I imagine you would be able to find better tofu there.
You know, my son's also a huge fan of anime. Are there any spots that are really interesting and good for kids in Japan as well?
Yes. Japan is a great country for children. There's loads to do for them. Was the Studio Ghibli Museum in Tokyo and the One Piece theme park in Osaka. They even have a Pokemon Center in Tokyo where kids can get exclusive merchandise and Pokemon-themed snacks. Japan is a lot of fun for kids with its bright and colorful culture.
So given all these options, if you could only pick one, which one of these would you recommend?
For an authentic Japanese experience, I would recommend a trip to Kyoto. It's such an amazing city, full of history, great food, and stunning scenery.
Great. Thanks for the recommendation.
No problem. I hope you and your family enjoy your trip to Japan.
Lastly, smart home has been a key area for Alexa and also for our developers. Smart home developers specifically can now build intuitive smart home controls in an easier, simplified approach. To cover the broadest set of use cases, we'll be providing developers with a path for both common integrations, such as turning on and off of lights and start and stop actions, but more importantly, now more complex actions such as dynamic lighting, scenes, custom cleaning operations for a vacuum cleaner, are all also possible with a simple developer experience without having to create custom experiences for each of these. I'm super excited about all of these and what our developers will create. So, yeah.
Yeah, and to go back to something you said just a little bit ago, you mentioned new ways that developers can connect their content, their APIs, or an external LLM with Alexa. Could you tell us a little bit more about those integration patterns?
Sure. For example, developers can now build content-driven experiences with a no-code solution using unstructured data like websites, product manuals, PDFs. It could even be like content from a database. With this content-driven experience, what customers will now be able to casually have a conversation with the content, ask Q&A, ask for the content to be summarized. And I think there are lots of use cases that are possible. For example, think about all the different product manuals that you can access and all the do-it-yourself projects you can now do with the help of Alexa. Or education content, that can be summarized. For example, you could learn calculus in a day. That's why I feel like content is going to be, the content integrations are going to bring a lot of new experiences and provide new channels for content creators to share their content with customers. With APIs, which is the second integration, developers will be able to integrate with Alexa's LLM by providing the API definition, simply the description of their APIs, and the API endpoint. Developers will obviously need to implement the business logic for their APIs in their services, and can also provide examples for how customers can interact with these APIs. With this, customers on Alexa can now complete complex tasks. Like, for example, you can make travel plans, you can book tickets, you can get hotel reservations, even you can plan things to do if you're at a destination based on weather conditions or time of the year. So the most powerful thing really is going to be that now the LLM-powered Alexa is able to orchestrate through all these complex tasks and knows when to call the right API. So the developers can focus on their services and their business logic instead of stitching together these experiences on Alexa. Lastly, we understand that some developers need flexibility. They want to integrate their skills with other LLMs or the LLMs of their choice. That is why, for the first time, we are enabling ASR text, which will allow developers to receive the text based on what customers are talking to the device, and also extensions to our SDK that include things such as prompt templates to optimize for voice experience, API responses and libraries to ensure that developers can leverage the best of our device capabilities, whether it's media playback, notifications, richer text-to-speech, animations, and etc. With all these tools, developers will have a development environment. They can iterate faster. We will provide them with testing tools that they can test how their LLM is performing and how their services are performing before they make these available to all users.
It sounds like developing for Alexa is going to get not just a lot easier, but a lot more capable, a lot more powerful as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Steve, in addition to your LLM experience, you also have a prolific amount of experience as an Alexa developer. Do any of those announcements particularly stand out or resonate for you as a developer?
Oh, yeah, 100%. If you've developed even a few skills, you've no doubt run into challenges that are just either insurmountable altogether or just too time intensive to solve for various types of things. An example I used earlier is just like if you're developing a skill that needs to be localized in 10 different languages, that's a heavy lift, even if it's a simple skill. And large language models in that example could cut that lift down from literally weeks that involve lots of different people to minutes, literally, or it could happen on the fly. That's just one. Sid pointed out a number of other possibilities, but it just opens the door to be able to do things that prior to this just really weren't doable.
And you work with clients of all types and sizes. What kind of enterprise use cases have you seen be successful? And so then what opportunity then do you think that presents for other developers who are soon going to be able to take advantage of Alexa's LLM?
So, support is the first one that comes to mind. When you talk about product support, and I'm not just talking about software products, but imagine a user manual from a popular furniture chain that boxes all of their stuff up in really tiny boxes, and it's not always easy to put together. But imagine being able to just ask Alexa, like, I don't understand this page, Alexa, like, what do I need to be doing? And if it's a device with a screen, not only could Alexa respond with, okay, back up, let's do this, but show you. And it would gain that knowledge, not because a skill builder explicitly went in and tried to anticipate all of the different ways a conversation like that could go, which isn't possible, but rather because it can access content online. It could access transcripts from videos of other people that might have had those issues. Its access to knowledge just, it is virtually whatever's available on the internet, almost, and that just is a really huge game changer in terms of capabilities for Alexa.
Yeah, it's an incredible time to be working with technology in general, certainly with conversational AI. And, Sid, I know from talking to many of our members out in the developer community that lots of them are chomping at the bit to get started. So when can developers begin to use these new tools?
Yeah, developers can sign up today and share their interest. We'll reach out to them if they are eligible to participate in our product previews. One thing I want to note is, given that we are still in the early stages of generative AI and large language models, we want to maintain a very high bar for the quality and the accuracy of these experiences. The second thing is, bringing these experiences to voice has a whole different set of challenges. For example, you might have interacted with some of these on your browser, where you ask a question and it takes a couple of minutes for the answer to be generated. You just cannot do that with Alexa or with a voice interface, where you expect the answer almost within seconds. So we are inventing and reinventing a lot of our systems and our architecture to make that possible. In spite of using the large language models for a consumer, they don't actually see that Alexa has changed or has slowed down in any way or form. The second aspect of it is just the expectations that customers have on the information or the types of answers that Alexa provides. For the last several years, customers have been asking Alexa for weather. They know every single time that they get the right weather. They ask for news. They know that the news that we provide is accurate. Or just like, controlling lights, there is very little room for error. So we're making sure that the responses and the actions that are being performed by the LLM have a very high accuracy. It's one of the reasons why we are slow rolling our developer tools, keeping trust and security very high for our customers. And to be very honest, just in the industry, everyone's trying to figure out like how to make sure that these generative AI or large language model based experiences are accurate most of the time, or even avoid security risks associated with these. So it's going to be a journey, and the most important thing is that we want developers to participate in that journey with us. So be patient, apply for your interest. We will reach out to you when we are ready to for you to try out our products.
And yeah, what's the best way for people to stay informed of any of the ongoing development?
Yeah, to learn more about these solutions and the products, developers can go to our Alexa AI page on the developer portal. It is a comprehensive page that serves as a hub for all the information pertaining to Alexa AI. You can visit the page at alexa.design/AI. To get technical details, including some examples of code snippets, developers can go to our technical blog. I will share links for all of these at the end of the session.
Fantastic. Now, I know we're almost out of time, so I have one last question for each of you. So we'll start with Steve. Steve, what recommendations do you have for developers or enterprises that are just starting to get comfortable with generative AI?
So if you're just starting to get comfortable with the idea that you need to start getting comfortable with AI, the first thing that I would do is say, just dive in. There are lots and lots of tools popping up. Almost, it seems almost daily, but they're all very, very accessible when it comes to getting started. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to know how to write code. You don't need to know any of that. You just need to know how to type, and you're all set. So I would go out. Amazon's got a great tool, Bedrock, that you can get to by going through the AWS console, and you can get a free account and test that out. Certainly there are other ones out there, but I would start with just go start diving in. Even before reading it, when I got access to the early GPT private beta, the first question I asked was, what should I do? What is this? What do I need to do? And I typed it into the prompt, and I was surprised at how quickly I started learning. And it got to a point where, with the book, a lot of the book was actually written by GPT, and it's because I was asking questions about it. And so I'm saying that mostly to stress just go do it. If you're familiar with generative AI, or you've gotten to beyond just that comfortable with the idea that you need to get comfortable with generative AI, the thing that I would say is, keep your eyes and ears open, and proactively block time to dabble with new stuff that's coming out. Because the only constant with the stuff, and I would say this is true of most things, certainly technology of all types, but it's the only constant is change. But the pace of change with these models and this technology is just pretty, it's unbelievably how quickly this stuff is developing. And so you really need to do your due diligence or at least get exposure to, experiment with, dabble with, whatever. All of the new tools that you can possibly make time to dabble with, because it's it's like within months something else comes out that makes that last thing not as good as it was when you first saw it. You really need to try to stay on top of it and keep your eyes and ears open.
Yeah, I love that bias for action, for just get started, just give it a shot, and definitely agree that the best way to build that experience is just to start playing around with the technology.
And there's AI that's tracking the development of AI, so there you go.
So then, Sid, what kind of key takeaways would you like to leave our developers with?
Yeah, I think the first one, obviously, is the fact that developers continue to play a critical role in helping us define and build new ambient assistant experiences for our customers. And historically, in the last many years, our developer tooling roadmap has been very much informed by the voice of our developers and the feedback we've gotten. So we're going to take a very similar approach. And as we build out the next generation of developer tools for Alexa, powered by the latest of the large language models, we would want our developers to share their feedback and help us evolve the products as we invent together. The second one is we strongly believe that the enhancements in generative AI and large language models will take what is really the world's best personal assistant and AI and make it even better. As we discussed, there are a lot of things that natively are supported that will make Alexa not just more useful, but also more fun to use with. I think the patterns in which customers will be interacting with Alexa is going to change. More longer running conversations are possible. More opinionated conversations are possible. So we're all super excited for that. I think the last one, which is probably the most important thing as we pursue on this journey, is with the with the integration of generative AI. While a lot of things are possible, we want to make sure that our commitment to earning our customers' trust will not change. As with all of our products, we continue to create experiences that customers love and at the same time also trust. Customer trust and privacy is paramount to us, and if it means that we have to go a bit slow, we will do that to make sure that our customers can get the best experience that they can both trust and they feel secure.
That's great. Thank you both so much for joining me today, and thank you to everybody that's out there for watching. If you have a moment, please make sure to fill out the survey. We're constantly working to improve our tech talks, and like Sid said, we really value your feedback. It really helps us refine and define the future of this and any other kind of content that we might make. And if you have any questions after we wrap, don't hesitate to reach out to us on social media. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.